Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we take a stack of information, no matter how diverse, and uncover the most important insights, giving you a real shortcut to being well-informed. Have you ever found yourself working incredibly hard, putting in the hours, day after day, yet still feeling like you're not quite building the life you truly envision? Perhaps it's the physical space around you that feels, a bit uninspired. Or maybe it's your financial future that seems kind of stuck in neutral.
It's a really common feeling, isn't it? That sense of running hard but staying in the same place.
Yeah, the daily grind, the hustle, we talk about it all the time. But what about the actual foundations, the principles that let that effort build into something real, something lasting?
Right. And what we often find is that success, whether you're talking about, say, building a physical thing like a house or building a solid financial future, it isn't just about how much effort you put in. It's more fundamental. It's about applying certain universal principles, consistently and with precision, building things right from the ground up, thinking about making them last.
Absolutely. And today we're embarking on a really fascinating deep dive. The material we're looking at is titled DIY Deck Building and Financial Wisdom.
Okay.
Now, I know at first glance, these might seem like two completely different worlds apart, really.
Yeah, sawdust and spreadsheets don't usually mix.
Exactly. On one side, you've got the reality of a construction site, the smell of cut wood, the noise of power tools. And on the other, the abstract world of financial planning, numbers on a screen, investment charts.
Very different textures.
But our mission today is to dig into both, to pull out the practical wisdom and reveal how directly the principles of hands-on building apply to constructing, a secure and prosperous financial life. We want to show you that meticulous planning, choosing and mastering the right tools, and importantly, taking real pride in your work. These are truly universal building blocks, no matter what you're trying to create.
And it's often these kinds of unexpected parallels, isn't it, that give us the most profound insights. We're not just looking at the surface level here. We're trying to examine the underlying structures, the disciplines, the mindsets that actually cut across different fields. The physical act of building something solid, like a deck, with all its challenges and demands. It can teach us a surprising amount about the sometimes abstract process of building financial stability. Physical creation kind of forces a discipline that's just as valuable when you're dealing with money.
Okay, so let's dive into that. Let's start squarely in the hands-on world of DIY construction. Imagine this scenario. It's laid out in our sources. A team, they've been hired to build a deck on a house.
Right.
The goal, to transform what's described as a boring and drab lawn into a backyard oasis.
Sounds nice.
Picture it, a great space for barbecues, maybe family lunches, just enjoying the outdoors.
Right.
A homeowner's dream, essentially.
A very appealing vision, especially, though, when you consider the big challenge this team is facing. What really makes this interesting and kind of ramps up the stakes immediately is the deadline.
Yeah.
It's daunting. Our material says they have only one day to finish this.
One day.
Yeah, a single day. To go from just a lawn to a fully built, beautiful deck.
Yeah.
That's an intense turnaround for a project like that.
It's a breakneck pace, isn't it? And it immediately throws everything into sharp focus. Because it's not just about speed. There's this critical, absolutely non-negotiable need for precision, for following the rules. The contractor, we learn, really emphasizes that everything has to be up to code. Why? Because the home inspectors here are pretty thorough.
Right, so no cutting corners.
Exactly. This isn't just about how it looks. It's about safety, structure, legal stuff. You can't just slap it together. It has to be fast and correct.
And if it's not up to code, what happens then?
Well, you could be looking at fines, having to redo work, which costs time and money, maybe even the inspectors shutting the whole thing down.
So the pressure is immense. It really highlights that classic challenge, doesn't it? The need for speed versus the absolute necessity for quality. The team's resolve, the contractor says, is that everyone needs to give 110% today to tackle this project.
That phrase, give 110%.
Yeah, it's not just showing up and working. It's about pushing beyond what you think your limits are, committing everything, energy, skill to hit this incredibly tough target, being completely all in.
And right there, interestingly, our source slips in this little warning, kind of an aside. It observes that this whole scenario is a good lesson in maybe not rushing through important projects.
Like a bit of foreshadowing.
Exactly. It's like, hang on, maybe this one-day deadline isn't the best idea. It speaks to that human tendency, right? Prioritize speed, maybe cut a corner mentally, and then find out later it costs you way more.
Yeah, in time, money, maybe even safety. It's a tension we see everywhere.
And that warning, it sort of primes us, doesn't it, for the deeper connections we're supposed to make later on.
It really does. The time pressure, the demand for quality, the need for extraordinary effort. These aren't just about building a deck quickly. These are universal challenges, you know?
Yeah.
You see them in business launches, in big life decisions, and definitely in managing your finances over the long haul. The material's kind of nudging us to see these parallels right from the start.
Okay, so if you are going to build something fast and right, like this one-day deck, you absolutely need the proper tools and materials. No question.
Essential.
Our sources dive into some of the absolute must-haves for this kind of job, and it's a great look at the practical side of construction. Let's start with something really basic but crucial. The 2x4.
Ah, the 2x4. Yeah, defined by its dimensions, right? 2 inches by 4 inches nominally, usually fir or pine wood. But its importance in construction, you just can't overstate it. The material calls it a very popular type of wood that you use in construction. Actually, the most popular and common type of wood.
The workhorse.
Totally. It's the backbone of framing. Walls, floors, roof trusses sometimes. It provides that core structure the skeleton everything else relies on. Its commonness makes you almost forget how critical it is.
And it's used for, like the source says, nailing pieces of wood together, building that basic framework, foundational stuff. Then we get to a tool that really changed the game for speed on a job site. The nail gun. Tell us about this. It's described as an advanced tool.
Oh yeah, game changer for sure. It uses compressed air to push nails really fast into the wood. You hear that sound, right? That really distinct, powerful thwack. It drives a nail in like a fraction of a second. It's such a huge leap in efficiency compared to using a traditional hammer, especially the wood is dense or hard, where sometimes nails won't go in easily by hand.
You save so much time and effort.
Exactly. Think about hundreds, maybe thousands of nails on a deck project. It's technology amplifying human effort, allowing for faster, much more consistent work. Absolutely critical when you've only got one day.
Makes sense. Next up, another power tool. The circular saw. Pretty straightforward purpose. Cutting wood.
Right.
And its name, obviously, from its circular blade. The sources even mention its specific sound, that high-pitched whine that turns into a roar as it cuts. You hear that, serious work is happening, materials are being shaped.
Power and precision, ideally. These tools, the nail gun, the circular saw, they're all about leverage, really. Doing more faster than you could by hand. But after the cutting and fastening, you've got the finishing touches. That brings us to sanding.
Right, to sand. Using paper covered in sand to make it very smooth. Usually for edges and surfaces, it can be pretty painstaking work by hand.
Especially on a big area like a deck surface, which is why you use a sander, a machine designed to do that heavy lifting automatically, efficiently.
And the why behind sanding is crucial to prevent splinters.
Yes. And what are splinters? The source describes them clearly. Little pieces of wood that stick out after wood's been cut or processed. Often sharp, ragged.
And dangerous, potentially.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is where the practical consequences of, not being careful come in. Splinters can get hurt, they can get under your skin. It's painful, annoying, could even get infected. It's a really tangible sign of attention to detail or the lack of it. If you find splinters all over a new deck edge, it tells you something about the care that went into the finishing work. It's not just looks, it's basic safety and quality.
Good point. So from smoothing edges, we move to making sure everything is properly aligned, structurally sound. And that brings us to the level.
The level. Described as a tool all carpenters have, and for good reason.
It's got that little vial, a little bit of water in it with an air bubble, and its whole job is to make sure that everything is straight and flat.
Its role is huge. Structural integrity, aesthetics, it's all tied to being level. A deck that isn't level won't just look wrong, it could be unstable.
Water pool.
Exactly. Water pooling, things rolling off, maybe even long-term structural problems if it's really off. It's a fundamental check. Ensures things are built to last, to work properly. Without a level, even the best materials can end up as a dodgy structure. It's like the ultimate judge of good construction.
And finally, in this tool rundown, the humble measuring tape.
Can't build without it.
Likened to a ruler that rolls up, which makes it very convenient, right? Portable, fits in your pocket, and it's versatile, measuring long distances, 6 feet or 3 meters long, maybe much longer for some tapes. Essential for accurate cuts, placing posts, everything. And just like the level, every carpenter has one. It's a symbol of accuracy.
It really is. It's the tool for precision, making sure every single cut, every placement is spot on. Without accurate measurements, those powerful saws and nail guns, they become less effective, maybe even destructive. You waste wood, things don't don't fit, the whole structure is compromised. These tools, they aren't just lumps of metal and plastic. They're extensions of the builder's intention. Precision, efficiency, safety, quality. They embody the values needed for effective building.
That's a great way to put it. Speaking of intent and values, let's shift now to the work ethic, the wisdom you can pick up from a job site like this hypothetical one. The first phrase that really jumps out, especially with that one-day clock ticking, is to give 110%. We hear it all the time, but what does it mean here?
It's about maximum effort, isn't it? Going above and beyond. Trying very hard. Give everything you have to your job. Pushing yourself to deliver more than what's needed. In the context of building a whole deck in one day, it means intense dedication, focus, pushing past fatigue, leveraging every bit of skill to overcome what seems almost impossible. It's about everyone hitting their peak performance together.
Then there's that classic, timeless piece of advice. The carpenter's rule of thumb: measure twice, cut once.
Yes. A fundamental.
Yeah, a rule of thumb itself is an interesting idea. It's a general principle, right? A guideline based on experience, not some rigid law.
Exactly. Practical wisdom.
Our sources give a few other examples, like in sales, maybe confidence is a rule of thumb for closing a deal. Or in tailoring, that old one about twice the circumference of the wrist is the circumference of the neck. General guides.
And what's so powerful about measure twice, cut once, in carpentry and really beyond, is how directly it speaks to risk management and avoiding costly mistakes. It's the wisdom of pausing, double-checking, planning carefully before you do something irreversible. Cutting a piece of lumber wrong isn't a small oopsie, especially on a tight deadline with inspectors breathing down your neck. It's wasted material, lost time, potential delays.
So it emphasizes foresight over just rushing ahead.
Absolutely. It's such a powerful metaphor for being diligent in anything important, really, whether you're cutting wood or, say, making a major investment decision. Check your assumptions, verify your data, then act.
And this connects really nicely to another key piece of wisdom mentioned: to take pride in your work.
Yes.
This comes up directly because of that earlier mention of splinters. Someone sees them and says, someone could get hurt, which clearly signals a lack of care in the finishing, a tangible sign of negligence.
Right. And the instruction that follows is immediate. Work harder, work better, work more carefully. It's a call for higher standards. But taking pride isn't just about avoiding mistakes like splinters. It's about the positive side. Feeling really happy about it when you're done, achieving a job well done.
That sense of satisfaction.
Exactly. It connects to the quality of the final product, sure. But also to your reputation as a builder, as a worker, and just your own personal satisfaction. It's about craftsmanship, ownership, making sure the work reflects well on you, not just for the client, but for your own sense of integrity, leaving something behind that's solid that you can stand behind.
And thinking about building things yourself brings us to a broader point our sources touch on: the whole cultural phenomenon of DIY, do-it-yourself.
Yeah. That's highlighted as an interesting aspect of North American culture, particularly. And it's incredibly popular.
It's more than just a hobby for a lot of people, isn't it? It's almost a lifestyle.
It really is. It's presented as a very popular summer project. You get this image right. Maybe the dad of a family outside building something, friends helping out, maybe drinking beer and build this big thing together.
That communal aspect.
Yeah, there's often a social side to it. It's not always just about saving money, though that can be part of it. It's often about the satisfaction of creating something with your own hands, learning new skills, maybe bonding with family or friends over the project.
And the projects can be ambitious. The source mentions building a treehouse, a deck, obviously, even adding another room to the house.
It speaks to a certain spirit, I think. Self-reliance, maybe ingenuity, wanting to actively shape your own environment.
And because this DIY culture is so popular, so widespread, there's a massive commercial ecosystem that's grown up around it.
Oh, absolutely.
Our sources point out there are tons of TV shows about how to build stuff for your house. Just think about cable channels dedicated to it, YouTube tutorials.
Endless content.
Guiding you, inspiring you, and then you've got the physical infrastructure. Really big stores where you can go and find all this equipment, those giant home improvement centers.
Warehouses full of everything.
Paint, wood, every tool imaginable, from the basic hammer to the specialized sanders and saws we talked about. It just shows how deeply embedded this culture is, supported by this huge industry making it accessible.
And that accessibility is key, right? Having the materials and the know-how readily available has really democratized building in a way.
Yeah.
It reinforces the idea that with the right guidance, the right tools, and the right attitude, you, the individual, can tackle pretty significant projects not just the pros.
Okay, so we've really unpacked the grit and the grace, you could say, of building a deck. We've looked at the tools, the rules like measure twice, the sheer effort needed to turn that drab lawn into an oasis, especially under that crazy one-day deadline.
Avoiding splinters, meeting code.
Exactly. But what if we told you that these very same principles, the meticulous planning, investing in the right tools, taking that genuine pride in your work, what if they extend far beyond a backyard project?
This is where it gets really interesting.
What if these exact ideas are foundational to building something even more significant, your financial future?
It's quite striking, isn't it? How the discipline needed for physical construction mirrors almost perfectly the discipline you need for, let's call it, financial construction.
Right.
Both fundamentally require a clear plan, a blueprint.
Yeah.
Both require you to strategically get and master the right tools. And both absolutely need a long-term perspective. When you connect it like that, the challenges of building that deck under pressure, they start to illuminate these universal truths about building anything of lasting value, whether it's made of wood or made of numbers. Think about it. The precision needed for a perfectly level deck, it's really no different from the precision needed for a balanced budget or a well-managed investment portfolio. Both need that foundational integrity. If you neglect it, things become unstable, problems hide beneath the surface, and eventually it can all come crashing down.
That's a really powerful connection, building piece by piece, whether it's lumber or financial assets. And to explore that connection further, our sources introduce us to someone named Sam and his journey described as a quest for wealth. Sam is 27, and he finds himself in a situation that probably sounds familiar to a lot of people. Despite working hard for 5 years and apparently earning a decent wage, he feels like his life hadn't improved. He just can't seem to get ahead.
Right, putting in the time, earning okay, but not seeing any real progress. Stuck.
Exactly. He's on that treadmill we talked about earlier, and his motivation, we're told, is pretty profound. He has this deep desire to escape poverty and achieve true wealth. It's not just about a bigger paycheck, it's about changing his whole trajectory.
A fundamental shift. That's a powerful motivator. And he finds his potential path through a rather unexpected, almost serendipitous encounter.
Yeah, it's quite story-like. He apparently takes a daring step, walks into a grand mansion, maybe out of curiosity, maybe desperation, the source isn't clear, and meets the owner, a Mr. Hayes.
The mentor figure arrives.
Exactly. And Mr. Hayes is described as wealthy but humble and generous. And instead of kicking Sam out, he actually welcomes him and offers guidance. It's the perfect setup for learning something important.
And this is where the financial blueprint starts to get laid out, isn't it? Much like you'd need plans for that deck. Mr. Hayes makes a really significant promise to Sam. He assures him that anyone can achieve wealth. And then he offers him 5 principles about money that you won't learn in school.
Ah, the secret knowledge.
Kind of, but it immediately sets the stage for something practical, actionable. A blueprint for financial success, not just vague hopes. It suggests wealth building isn't some mystical thing, but something accessible if you follow certain disciplines.
Okay, let's dive into these 5 principles for Mr. Hayes, starting with number 1, which he calls the unshakable foundation. Spend less than you earn.
Simple, but profound.
It sounds almost too simple, doesn't it? Like, of course you should do that.
It does sound simple, but Mr. Hayes presents it as the foundation for a critical reason. He explicitly says, if you don't master this first principle, you can't move on to the other steps. It's the absolute prerequisite.
Like the concrete footings for the deck.
Exactly. If those aren't solid, level, properly cured, anything you build on top is unstable. Doesn't matter how fancy the rest is. You could earn $1 million a year, but if you spend $1 million in one, you're still going backwards financially.
And he makes it concrete too, giving actual savings targets, which is helpful. He says, for instance, if you make $5,000 a month, set aside at least $2,000. If it's $3,000, save $1,000. Clear, measurable goals.
Quantifiable, not just vague advice.
And the key warning is to avoid expenses that exceed your income, explicitly mentioning things like loans or gambling. It's fundamentally about living within your means, or ideally well below them.
This is so critical. And Mr. Hayes reveals this surprising truth. He says that even with a 6-figure salary, if you don't follow this basic rule, you will remain in debt.
Wow.
And that connects right back to that up to code idea from building the deck. Just like a deck needs to meet basic structural standards, your finances need to meet this fundamental standard of positive cash flow.
Otherwise, it's just not sound.
Exactly. You see it all the time. People get raises, bigger salaries, but their spending just grows to match it. Lifestyle inflation, they call it. They're earning a lot, maybe look successful, but if they're spending it all or more, they're building this grand facade on a really shaky foundation. No real wealth accumulation happening.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Principle number 2 from Mr. Hayes: have an emergency fund, your financial safety net.
Yes, this has become such a core piece of financial advice, especially recently, as everyone's seen how unpredictable life can be.
Totally. Mr. Hayes acknowledges it directly. Car repairs, a leaky roof, or even layoffs can happen at any time. These aren't just possibilities, they're real-life things that can completely knock you off course financially if you're not ready.
A big unexpected medical bill. Your main income source disappears for a while. Life happens.
And if you don't have that emergency fund, the consequences can be pretty severe. Mr. Hayes says you might be forced to borrow or sell assets at a loss.
Which puts you in a terrible position.
Right. It restricts your options and adds stress. You might have to take on high-interest debt like credit cards, or sell stocks or investments when the market is down, locking in losses. It sets you back hugely and adds enormous strain.
Whereas the benefit of having the fund is clear. It's your safety net, as Mr. Hayes calls it. It protects your finances when unexpected events arise. The standard advice is usually 3 to 6 months worth of essential living expenses. Some people aim for more, maybe 9 or 12 months, especially if their income is less predictable.
And where should you keep it?
Somewhere safe and easily accessible, but maybe not too easy, like mixed in with your daily spending money. A high-yield savings account is often recommended, or maybe a money market fund. Liquid, but slightly separate.
And how does this relate back to the deck building?
You can compare it directly to having the right tools and materials on hand during the build. Remember that tight deadline. You don't want everything grinding to a halt because you suddenly realize you're missing a crucial box of screws or a specific type of bracket.
Right, you'd have to rush out, maybe pay more.
Exactly. Or worse, try to make do with something inadequate, compromising the structure. Preparedness, having that emergency kit of funds or materials, it's about maintaining momentum and avoiding forced, costly, suboptimal decisions, whether you're building a deck or building financial security.
That's a great parallel. Okay, moving on to principle number 3. Invest in yourself. This one's presented as potentially the best investment you can make. Mr. Hayes seems to address a common hesitation here that people might feel unsure about investing in a business or stock, maybe because it feels risky or they don't understand it well.
Yeah, the traditional investment world can seem intimidating. So Mr. Hayes offers a crucial pivot here. He says, look, the most valuable, most reliable investment anyone can make is actually in yourself, specifically in improving your skill set.
And he brings it right back to our starting point. He gives examples like carpentry, plumbing, or customer service.
Direct link back to the DIY theme. It shows that practical hands-on skills are just as valuable an investment as, say, learning about the stock market, maybe even more so initially.
I love that. It makes the abstract idea of investing very concrete. And he gives really actionable steps, too. He says, invest your time, energy, and money into mastering it further.
It's not just about getting a degree, necessarily.
Right. It's practical stuff like learn where your boss sources materials, understanding the supply chain in your field, or explore ways to market your services better, or attend courses, buy tools, literally investing in the equipment of your trade, or even just read relevant books. Continuous improvement.
Becoming indispensable, essentially. Deepening your expertise, maybe broadening your knowledge into related areas, becoming T-shaped, as they sometimes say.
And Sam's reaction here is telling. He apparently regrets he hadn't learned this sooner. It underscores just how powerful this idea can be.
It really is about building your own human capital, like a carpenter building up their toolkit and their mastery over different woods and techniques. Investing in skills, whether it's coding or project management or better communication, often provides an incredible return. It's arguably the most reliable form of growth because you own it, you control it, you can take it with you from job to job, and it directly increases your earning potential.
Okay, so once you've invested in yourself, honed those skills, the next logical step is principle number 4, earn more.
It follows naturally, right? You've built value in yourself, now it's time to capture more of that value.
Mr. Hayes emphasizes a shift here, moving beyond just being paid per hour to earning based on what you produce.
This is a really key shift in mindset. It moves the focus from simply trading your time for money to trading the value you create for money.
So if you're more skilled, more efficient,
Exactly. If you can do a job better and faster because of the skills you've invested in, you should earn more for that outcome, not just for the hours you clocked in. If you're paid per project and you can finish it in half the time of someone less skilled, you've effectively doubled your earning rate for that time.
The incentive becomes really clear. The harder you work, the more you earn, or maybe the smarter you work, the more you earn.
Yes. Efficiency and quality matter. And the ultimate outcome Mr. Hayes points to is potentially entrepreneurial. Start your own business and your income will grow.
That connects right back to taking pride in your work from the deck building, doesn't it?
Absolutely. If you deliver higher quality, show greater effort, build a reputation based on your exceptional skill, that naturally leads to more opportunities, higher rates, potentially your own business. It's the reward for mastery and dedication. Your good work essentially becomes your best marketing tool.
It's that move from being, like you said, a cog in someone else's machine to being the architect of your own value.
A profound transition, trading value for money, not just time. And that strategic evolution leads perfectly into the final principle, which is often seen as the ultimate goal for many.
Principle number 5, create passive income.
Right. And Mr. Hayes is clear. This comes into play when you've applied the first 4 principles. You need to have done the groundwork, spending less than you earn, having the emergency fund, investing in your skills, increasing your active earning power. Then, when you have extra money, because of all that.
That's when this principle kicks in. It's not step 1.
Definitely not step 1. It's the capstone on a well-built financial structure. The objective now is to get that extra money to work for you.
A concept that sounds great, but maybe a bit abstract for some.
It can seem abstract. But Mr. Hayes gives tangible examples, which helps ground it. He mentions things like invest in property, start a rental business, buy a franchise, or research other sources of passive income.
So things that generate income without you having to actively trade your time for it, hour by hour.
Exactly. It could be rental income from property. It could be dividends from stocks where companies pay out a share of their profits to shareholders. It could be investing in a business run by others. Maybe even creating digital products like an online course or an ebook that can sell over and over again with less ongoing effort.
But he adds a crucial piece of advice here. Think carefully and choose wisely.
Yes. This isn't a license to just throw money anywhere. This is where that measure twice, cut once mentality is maybe more critical than ever.
Because mistakes here can be costly.
Very costly. Passive income streams aren't always truly passive. They often require significant research upfront, maybe ongoing management, and definitely careful risk assessment. You need to understand what you're investing in. Is the foundation of this income stream solid? Is it up to code, financially speaking?
It brings it all together, and for Sam, this whole framework is transformative. He goes from just vaguely hoping for wealth, feeling stuck, to understanding there's a real strategy.
He has a blueprint now.
Exactly. He expresses gratitude for the invaluable guidance. He sees a path forward. It's not just about building a deck anymore. He has the plans for building his entire financial future.
And the analogy holds up beautifully, doesn't it? You wouldn't build a house without a solid level foundation, spend less than you earn. You'd want an emergency kit for unexpected problems, like a burst pipe, emergency fund. You'd need skilled workers who know their craft, invest in yourself. You'd want efficient processes to get the job done well, earn more. And eventually, maybe you'd want that house itself to generate value, perhaps through rent or appreciation, create passive income.
What an incredible deep dive that was. We started out with hammers, nails, the smell of sawdust on a deck site, imagining this backyard oasis being built in just one intense day, dealing with building codes, precision cuts, trying to avoid those literal splinters.
Yeah, the tangible world of construction.
Then we transitioned pretty seamlessly, actually, to the blueprint for financial freedom, guided by the wisdom of this Mr. Hayes character. And we've seen so clearly how those universal principles, hard work, yes, but also meticulous planning, using the right tools smartly, mastering your craft, taking genuine pride in the output, how essential they are for building anything that's meant to last, whether it's a sturdy, good-looking deck or a stable, prosperous financial future.
The parallels really are striking when you lay them out like that measure twice, cut once rule. It's not just for carpenters cutting expensive hardwood. It's a vital principle for every significant financial decision you make.
Checking the details before committing.
Right. Doing your homework, understanding the risks, avoiding costly errors, whether that's overpaying for an investment, taking on bad debt, or just failing to budget properly. It's about diligence and foresight.
And taking pride in your work.
It applies just as much. Whether you're carefully sanding those deck edges so they're smooth and safe, ensuring a quality finish, or whether you're meticulously managing your budget and investments, making sure every dollar has a purpose, allocating funds with care, paying attention to the long-term integrity of your whole financial plan.
It's about the quality of the build.
Exactly. The integrity of the structure, physical or financial, ensuring it's sound, built to last, something that will stand the test of time and, maybe some unexpected storms along the way.
It really does come down to those universal building blocks underpinning success in so many different parts of life. So, as you listening reflect on this deep dive we've taken today, maybe consider this. What are you building right now? Physically, maybe in your home or garden, financially with your savings and investments, or maybe even personally building new skills, strengthening relationships.
Good question.
And thinking about that, are you applying the right rule of thumb, that practical wisdom gained from experience? Are you truly taking pride in your work, ensuring the quality is there? Are you making sure that what you're building is truly up to code for the future you envision?
Built on a solid foundation.
Exactly. Maybe think about one small, deliberate step you could take today. One action inspired by these principles: measure twice on a decision, invest a little time in a skill, focus on the quality of one task to help you build something lasting, something you can look back on with real pride for years to come.